Alright, so 5.6 is almost here, and even though HoYoverse hasn't officially announced the banners yet, we already know which characters are going to be featured, and yeah, this time it's a really solid lineup. In this video, I want to go over everything we know so far, explain why this info is basically locked in, and even go over my own prediction on how the phases will be split, since that part still hasn't been shared. And of course, we'll talk about who pairs well with who, what roles they fill, and which teams you might want to start preparing for. If you're planning to pull for Varesa or Xianyun, you can save up to 23% on lootbar.gg. Here, I'm buying the 6,480 Genesis Crystals pack for $79, while it costs $100 in-game, saving me $21 instantly. The top-up process is super simple. I just entered my UID and selected my server. In less than 5 minutes, the gems appeared in my account. As you can see, I received double the amount for my first purchase, just like with in-game top-ups. Beyond Genshin, you can also top up in Honkai Star Rail, and Lootbar has over 50,000 satisfied users. I regularly use Lootbar for my giveaways, so I can personally recommend it. New users can get an extra 8% discount from the link in the description. So the full character lineup for version 5.6 looks like this. The 5-star characters are Escoffier, Kinnish, Raiden Shogun, and Navia. On the 4-star side, we've got Aoife, Layla, Sarah, Toma, and Lynette, plus one more character who hasn't been identified yet. It's a strong mix of utility and main DPS units, and the addition of Escoffier and Aoife as new characters means a lot of people are already planning out team comps and wishing strategies. Now, why are we so confident about this lineup if Hoyo hasn't said anything yet? Well, the biggest reason is that this exact list comes from HomDG one of the most accurate leakers in the community. And when I say accurate, I'm not exaggerating. Leakers and this guy has been right for over 10 patches in a row when it comes to banner lineups. Not just the 5-star, but even the 4-star selections have matched up with what he's posted. On top of that, several other sources have echoed the same list, so unless Hoyo suddenly does a major last-minute reshuffle, this is almost certainly what we're getting. So if you're trying to plan ahead, this is the lineup you can safely prepare for. That being said, while the character lineup is basically confirmed, the phases still haven't been revealed, so we don't officially know who's coming first and who's coming second. In recent patches, we've actually been getting this kind of info earlier than usual, which is great, but there's been a shift. We get the full list of characters ahead of time, but the phase details are often missing. That's exactly what's happening here in 5.6. We know who's in the banners, but the order they'll appear in is still unknown. So until the live stream or new leaks drop, we're left making educated guesses. So here's my personal prediction. I think Escoffier and Kinnish will be in Phase 1, and Raiden, Shogun, and Navia will be in Phase 2. This isn't based on any leak, it's just my own guess based on patterns and past banners. Hoyo usually puts new characters in the first half of a patch to build hype and encourage early pulls. And both Escoffier and Kinnish first rerun are brand new 5-stars, so it makes sense to have them in the same phase. But there's another reason I don't think Raiden and Kinnish will show up together, and it's because we already had a similar lineup back in version 5.0. And the structure was the same, one in each phase. It seems unlikely they'd repeat that setup exactly, so splitting Raiden and Kinnish across phases makes more sense. Plus, Kinnish and Escoffier are both characters from Natlan, so pairing them together in Phase 1 gives the version a stronger Natlan identity right from the start. Meanwhile, Raiden Shogun fits naturally into the second phase alongside Navia, especially since both are reruns. It balances the patch well and gives each phase its own flavor. So yeah, unless Hoyo decides to shake things up, that's the structure I'd expect. So let's take a deeper look at what each of these phases could look like. Starting with Phase 1, Escoffier and Kinnish. Escoffier is a cryo polearm support from Fontaine, who heals based on attack and reduces cryo and hydro resistance. She's great for freeze or melt comps, and feels like a cryo version of Emily, focusing on enabling rather than dealing damage. As a cryo healer, she fills a rare niche. Kinich is a Dendro Claymore DPS from Natlan with a flashy mid-air playstyle. He uses grapples to hover and strike, and his kit revolves around burning and burgeon. Pair him with Pyro or Hydro, and he becomes a fast-paced, reaction-heavy frontliner, unlike most other Claymore users. On the 4-star side of this phase, we're looking at Aoife, Layla, and one unknown character. Aoife is a new Anemo catalyst from Natlan, and he's got a unique kit. He floats in combat, fires healing projectiles, boosts elemental mastery, and enables swirl, making him great for Dendro or Electro reaction teams. He also gets exploration bonuses in Natlan thanks to the phlogiston mechanic, which adds some nice open-world utility. Layla, the cryo sword user from Sumeru, provides consistent cryo application through her shield's homing stars and offers solid protection. She pairs really well with Escoffier. Together they bring cryo resonance, healing, and stability for freeze or melt teams. As for the third 4-star, it's still unknown. Possibilities include Rosaria for her crit rate buffs and cryo burst, Diona for shields and healing, or even Candace for hydro support in freeze comps. I'm personally hoping for Diona. She'd slot perfectly into Escoffier teams. Moving into Phase 2, which I think will include Raiden Shogun and Navia, Raiden is still one of the top Electro characters. Her elemental burst hits hard, turns her into a sword-wielding sub-DPS, and boosts the team's energy and burst damage. She fits into comps like Raiden National or Hyper Bloom, and this time, she's paired with Sarah, who directly buffs her. At C6, Sarah gives a huge critical damage boost to Electro characters, making this a great patch to go for that synergy. Navia is a Geo Claymore DPS who shines in Crystallize-based teams. Her skill scales with collected shield shards, and she works great in mixed element setups, not just mono Geo. Pairing her with someone like Toma, who provides shields and pyro application, helps her consistently hit hard. As for the 4-star characters, this phase includes Sarah, Toma, and Lynette. Sarah, like I mentioned, is a strong support for Electro characters. Her elemental skill and burst provide an attack buff, and at higher constellations, especially C6, she becomes a huge crit DMG buffer for characters like Raiden. She's not a plug-and-play unit, but when used correctly, she can significantly boost your team's damage output. Toma brings shields and steady pyro application, making him a good pick for teams that rely on Overload, Burgeon, or even Crystallize when paired with Navia. He's easy to build, does his job well, and gives your team a layer of safety if you're not running a dedicated healer. And then there's Lynette, an Anemo sword unit from Fontaine. She's great for crowd control, quick Anemo application, and setting up swirl reactions. So overall, even though we don't know the phases officially yet, the character lineup is basically locked in thanks to consistent leaker accuracy. And based on how HoYo structures these things, this is the most likely phase split. If you're trying to decide who to wish for, start prepping now. Let me know in the comments which phase you're more excited for. Are you aiming for the new characters or finally picking up someone like Raiden or Navia? Thanks for watching and good luck with your pulls. Save up to 23% on the current banners at lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description.